So I go to the listing agent, who's a very prominent agent out there. I said,
Still
hey,
today?
Oh yeah.
I know this
And
person.
I go, oh yeah. And I go, hey, question. Like I was looking at Google Earth and I saw there was like big earth movers. Like, did they tear an existing house down? Was this a lot split? Like, how did you like design and build this whole thing?
Trying to sound smart.
And he goes, oh, Scott,
Oh God.
you don't know what house this is? And I go, no. He goes, this is the Heaven's Gate house. And
Holy shit.
so my client looks at me.
Hold on. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski. Cam is not with us today. She will be back in a couple of weeks. I know you're sad about it, I know we missed her. But that voice you're hearing, we have Scott Ryan with us. Welcome. I'm so happy Scott's here. Scott has been in the business for 21 years, and he is the founder of Ryan Real Estate Group. And he sent me a DM a couple weeks ago and was like, Steph, I have to come on. And I was like, yeah, you do. So I know you have stories for us. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Sure.
Okay, let's just get right into it. All right, well, Scott, welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, how do you want to start? I told you, start with the banger in case
Okay, I will. So yeah, totally. So, I got licensed in 2003. So 2007, I'm working here in La Jolla, and I was given a lead of somebody who wanted to rent a house at $20,000 a month.
And was this right before the crash?
This is, before the crash.
Okay.
So my broker hands it to me and says, I'm going out of town on vacation. Here, handle these folks. So I call them. They're from England. They call me up to say, we're coming in town.
Okay.
We want to look at Rancho Santa Fe. And I'm like, okay, I know nothing about Rancho Santa Fe.
You're like,
I'm like,
but I know everything.
But this is like, I knew absolutely nothing. But at $20,000 a month, I'm thinking, okay, these folks may buy something, right? So they come in town and I start the tour with them and I'm showing them rentals and they tell me that they're looking to buy somewhere between like 5 and 7 million.
Okay.
And I'm freaking out because I never sold a house. This is 2007, right? Like there's houses today selling for that much. And
right. These numbers are a little
like a $20 million house today, right?
100%.
Right?
100%.
So this was a big deal for me and I had no idea what I was doing. So the first day I go out with them to Rancho Santa Fe, GPS wasn't great back then, but the GPS is trying to take me.
And also the ranch. Like
I know nothing, right? Like I never sold. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so anyways, I'm out there and I'm driving around and we're trying to get to Fairbanks Ranch. The first thing I do is trying to drive into the owner's gate.
Oh no.
So I'm having to reverse out on like the main road.
They're like, sir, you can't go in that gate. I'm
trying to find the gate, whatever. So like, I think right away my clients discovered that I didn't know shit about what's going on in Rancho Santa Fe, but they were willing to learn with me. Like they liked me that much, right?
That's good.
So I got them into a rental and I'm becoming the expert. I mean, we're going to the Bridges, Fairbanks, Covenant, like all
of them.
They're checking out every single subdivision. And back then the market was going crazy.
Yes.
There was a lot of building out there. Danny Hamble, all these guys are building huge
Well, and again, for anyone who doesn't know Rancho Santa Fe, like there's land out there. It's really the only place that we kind of had land left at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like certain spots of Vista and Oceanside and Carlsbad, sure, there was land back then, but
the development was crazy. It was all that like kind of like dark Tuscan, all those big Tuscan homes were being built, right? So they were into the Mediterranean style. And so I'm checking like every single day for new things to come on the market. And the perfect house comes up. It's like $5.5 million.
Oh my God.
Brand new construction.
And again, they were renting until they found
correct.
one.
Yeah. And I'm hanging at their house with them, having drinks, partying, like having parties. Like they were treating me like gold, right?
I love it.
So this new house comes up. I send it to her. She goes, oh, this looks perfect, right? It's on the north end of Rancho Santa Fe. So we drive up to this house and it's beautiful. I'm like, man, this is good. This is the day that we get a deal done. Walk inside this house and she's googly-eyed over this house, looking all over the place. And she's like, I love this place. I'm like, yeah, this is really nice.
Was it new construction?
Brand new construction.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there with the listing agent and, me being the buyer's agent trying to do all the DD, right? All the due diligence. I had looked on the aerial maps and it looked like it was a lot split because there was like earth movers on the aerial and it looked like they had just wiped out a house and built a new one.
Okay.
So I go to the listing agent, who's a very prominent agent out there. I said,
Still today?
Oh yeah.
I know this
And
person.
I go, oh yeah. And I go, hey, question. Like I was looking at Google Earth and I saw there was like big earth movers. Like, did they tear an existing house down? Was this a lot split? Like, how did you like design and build this whole thing?
Trying to sound smart.
And he goes, oh, Scott.
Oh, God.
You don't know what house this is? And I go, no. He goes, this is the Heaven's Gate house. And
holy shit.
So my client looks at me.
Hold on. Do you know what Heaven's Gate is? So other people might not know. Heaven's Gate, let's just take a
let's
quick
back it up.
Let's back it up. You were inside the Heaven's Gate house.
Yes.
Scott, I am shook. I did not think you were going to tell me this. This was a cult back in the early 2000s.
No, 1997 is when it happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so close.
Yeah.
And there were basically
39 people.
Suicides.
Mass suicide of 39 people. The premise for their religious cult was
looked it up.
They believed that there were UFOs and extraterrestrial beings that were chasing the Halley-Bopp comet.
Yes.
And they were into this weird asexual thing. There was castrations, had like weird, crazy things happening.
Great. Again, for anyone who doesn't know what Heaven's Gate is, you need to look it up.
It was a nationwide story so big that, I mean, it was a nationwide story. It was a huge deal, right? And so
huge deal. But we still talk about it today. We're just like, oh,
they just crossed the I just looked it up last night. They just crossed, because I was remembering the story. They just crossed the 25-year anniversary in March of 2022. So we're now in March. We're basically now in the
26th year,
27th year. Yeah. So
or 22. Yeah. We're in 24. Shit.
We're in this.
Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah. So
new
you're
house,
in there.
and
so again, they had torn down. Obviously,
they tore. So then the agent proceeds to tell me. Well, first of all, so my client, and look on my face must have been like ghost.
I would have gone white.
Because the wife looks at me and she goes, "What's Heaven's Gate? What's Heaven's Gate?" And I go,
again, they're British. They're not from here.
I'm speechless. And so the listing agent like hops in and proceeds to tell my client that there was a mass suicide on this property. However, they tore down the house.
Don't worry.
They excavated.
They tore down the house.
And the reason I saw it wasn't just any earth. This were giant earth movers on this property that I saw in the aerial footage.
Did they excavate?
20 feet of soil. And then they brought 20 feet of new soil onto the property.
To get rid of any
like crazy spirits or anything left over. They changed the name of the street and basically the address and all that stuff. So no one would know that it was that property.
And can you remind me who owned the property? Was it one of the leaders or were they renting it?
I think they were renting it.
I thought it was a rental. Okay.
They were renting it.
So the owner basically then went through and just like.
And my client, she was a very like spiritual kind of person, very artsy kind of person. She looked at me and she goes, "Get me out of this house."
Oh, hell. Right. There's no fucking way I would buy this.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, did I just lose this buyer? Like I should have called and asked before, but like, who would have known? It wasn't in like the confidential remarks or anything like that, right?
You're like, bro, you gotta warn someone. Like, because again,
when he said that to me, I was like,
the address change, the street change, like you weren't really putting two and two together.
This was a beautiful white Mediterranean, like brand new, sparkling, gorgeous home. But it was 10 years later, right? They waited a long time to like.
I mean, 10 years isn't that long. I'll be honest.
I mean,
holy shit.
Crazy, right?
That is wild.
Yeah.
Did it sell? It had to have at some point.
It did, but I just.
Oh my God, who lives there now?
I have no idea.
We
should look it up. Yeah.
Need to look this up. That is nuts.
I know. Can you imagine?
I'm a little jealous actually that you got to go like there. Like I don't know.
Who would have ever thought? You've never known, right? Unless the agent had said something to me. But to say it in the middle of the showing, and my client just most like you and I know about it. Most people know about Heaven's Gate. But she was just completely. What's Heaven's Gate?
I mean, again, and I think people probably who live outside of California, this might jog. They'll be like, oh, I did remember. But again, 97, that was a long time ago. I was a kid back then, and so, oh my God. But it's like a San Diego, like anyone in San Diego that says Heaven's Gate, you know what it is. Like, so your clients didn't buy Heaven's Gate is what you're telling me. By the way, that is
they ended up buying a different house.
I have to tell you, that's probably going to be the title of this episode, Heaven's Gate with Scott Ryan.
It's we're going to spoil it then.
It'll be a reel. That's wild.
I know.
I kind of love that. That's like.
I had to go back to the memory bank for that one because I was thinking about, coming on the show. I really had to go back and think about like I have a couple of other good stories in mind, but that one I thought about last night. Dude. I was like, wow, I totally had forgotten about it.
Were you married at that time?
Yes.
Did you go home and tell your wife?
Oh yeah.
Was she like, what?
Yeah. It was very, because that was still all very like new. Like you talk to anyone in San Diego, they all knew what it was. I mean, that was
100%.
like,
Again, 10 years.
it's still the largest mass suicide in U.S. soil to date.
Okay. Yeah.
I looked it up last night.
That sounds.
Yeah.
I fact checked this last night before I came on.
I did.
That's insane. You got to tell me. I mean, I could look this up. You got to tell me later who the listing agent was. That's
Okay,
crazy.
I will.
My God.
Yeah.
I'm shooketh. Shooketh. Max, you didn't know about Heaven's Gate? Dude, you were a baby back then. But wait, what year were you born? He was 4.
Oh yeah.
I was.
Let's just say, good thing your parents weren't part of it.
It's bananas. And I think there's a documentary. There's got to be a couple.
Oh, there's a couple,
on it, like
yeah.
on Netflix or Hulu or something. But
For sure.
holy shit. Well, I'm not really sure how we transition this, but thank you for bringing that story because that is insane.
Yeah, I know.
All right. What else you got? Is it as good as Heaven's Gate?
Yeah, a couple of good stories.
Okay.
When I was first a buyer's agent, I had this, we're all selling like $300,000 condos out in like Del Cerro, right?
Totally.
Well, wherever, right? So
totally. If
it's
only that
East
was
County.
still available now.
Her dad's buying it. Her dad's a retired broker.
Okay.
One of the kind of dads who thinks he knows everything for his daughter because he's a retired broker.
So he was at every single home inspection.
Yeah, that. And he would drive down. He lived in Thousand Oaks, but his daughter lived here. And so they would drive down for the showings.
Boy.
Her daughter's in love with this condo. She and I went and looked at it together first.
Okay.
And she's like, this is my place. I want this place.
Okay.
I said, great. So get your dad down here. So
What part of town was it?
It's in Del Cerro.
Okay.
Or San Carlos. Right around there.
Great area.
Right off the 125, right?
Yeah.
And it's like 110 out. Like middle of August, summer, like super hot. And back in the days, I'm still wearing the suit and tie, like trying to my proving grounds. You know what I mean? Like still wearing the monkey suit, sweating.
And
right?
people are like 110. It gets hot out.
It
This
gets
is
hot out
East
there.
County, so it's desert.
So-
yeah.
They drive down all the way from Thousand Oaks, and I get there very early, right? So I'm looking for like a place to park, and I don't see guest parking, whatever. And we're showing Unit B, so I see a parking spot that says B, right? So I go, well, this must be the parking spot. It's close to the unit. So
makes sense.
I'll park on the street. I'm gonna let my client park here because her dad was a little heavy set and he walked with a cane.
Okay,
right?
so you want him to be close.
I wanted
sure.
to, yeah. So
Sure.
he parks in spot B, gets out of the thing, and we walk into the condo, and he's inside, and he's like, "This fucking place sucks. I hate it. Where's the air conditioning?" And he's like melting himself because it's so hot inside this condo. And
Was it vacant or was
it was vacant.
Okay.
Yeah, it was vacant.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, this has been a total waste of time. There's no way they're buying it. He's paying for it.
And what is the daughter saying at this point?
Oh, she's like in there trying to talk him into it. And then finally she's like, there's no way he's going. She would have given me the signal like there's no way he's going to go for it type of thing, right? So I'm like, man, this guy drove all the way down. Like, this is like,
He's
why,
gonna be
why,
pissed.
why am I not selling things in La Jolla, right? Well, sorry. So
Don't worry,
anyways,
you are
I know,
now.
I am now. But back in the day, you're grinding for that $300,000
You're
two-bedroom
grinding
condo,
for
right?
everything. Yeah.
So anyways, it's so hot in this place. I just walk outside. I go, I'm going to go out back to the parking lot.
Like, I need air.
And so I'm sitting by his car, and, he was a slow walker, and I'm letting them talk because
Give him some space.
Yeah, maybe she could talk him into this thing or whatever,
sure.
right? I'm not going to be the never been a hard-nosed sales guy, like trying to close either. Let them decide.
Right.
So I'm standing by his car, and in comes this like late 90s BMW flying in the parking lot. And this lady rolls in, and she's screaming at me. She has like a South African accent, right? She's screaming at me. And I'm like,
No.
what? And she's like, you're in my spot. And I'm like, it's my client's car. Like, okay. And so she got all mad, and she pulls in like literally this close to my client's car. So he can't even open the door. She gets up, yells at me more, slams the door, and goes like basically speed walking into her unit. And I could see where she goes in.
Oh, no.
So now I'm like,
Now
this guy's
he's
going to be
blocked
really
in.
pissed. He's super blocked in. He's going to have to this is a large man. He's going to have to like 300 pounds plus, right? So he's going to have to crawl across his front. There's no way he's
getting in on the driver door.
So he comes out and he's like, what's going on? I go, well, this woman, I said, I didn't realize it, but I think we're parked in her spot and she's mad. And he's like, well, how am I getting in my car? I said, I'm not sure. I saw where she goes in. And
You're
then
like, give me the keys. I'll do it.
I look down at his bumper and I go, was your quarter panel and your bumper like always this damaged? And she goes, she hit my car. That bitch hit my car.
No.
Oh yeah. And he's freaking out. And he's like, I could see his face like boiling. And I'm like, I'm not sure what to do. I'm like, let me go knock on her door.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's this far from his car, but she took out his rear quarter panel when she parked. I didn't notice it.
Oh
So
my God.
I go knocking on the door, and she jerks the door
Slides it
open. Yeah.
open.
And she's like speaking in like this dialect. It's like half South African, half like whatever, right? And she's screaming at me, like foaming at the mouth, mad. And I go, listen, you need to calm down. You hit my client's car. He can't get in the car. You need to
We're trying to move.
Come out and bring your insurance. You guys can exchange the insurance, and then we'll be on our way. She gives me the double middle finger, slams the door in my face. And I was like, well, I guess we got to call the cops. So I call the cops. And the cops show up, and I explained the whole situation. I said, look, we accidentally parked in her spot. I offered to move. She didn't want to wait for me to move the car because my client was still coming out from the condo. And she hit his car. I witnessed it. And so they're like, okay, we'll go knock on our door. And so I go to my client, I go, listen. I go, mark my words. This chick's coming out hogtied.
Behind the Lockbox is sponsored by Property Showcase Group. Property Showcase Group has a team of creatives, directors, producers, editors, marketing specialists, and designers that work in tandem to tell and share stories of the built environment. Whether you're looking for full-service production or simply just need content creation, Property Showcase Group can help take your business to the next level. To learn more or to contact Property Showcase Group to schedule a consultation, you can find them at propertyshowcasegroup.com. That's spelled PROPERTYSHOWCASEGROUP.com. PropertyShowcaseGroup.com.
And he's like, no way. I'm like, oh yeah, it's going down right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, dude, this chick was so
You're like,
mad.
you don't even understand what she did to me. She's going to accost these cops. Like,
so I'll see the cops knock the door, and I see like fingers pointing, and I see a cop inside, and I see like all of a sudden I see like a commotion going on.
oh,
And I see them go into her apartment, right?
oh my God.
Yeah. She comes out hogtied. Like they literally two
Handcuffs.
cops, like feet in
They're
bound.
just like carrying
Oh
her.
yeah, she was like flopping around like a fish, screaming. And they put her.
Deal?
They put her in the back of the cop car, and she's still like cussing us out and stuff. And the cops handled it, and they're like, listen, we finally got our insurance information. Like we're
Here
gonna
it
let her
is.
go because we don't
Right.
want to take her to jail over this. But
Right.
the only way was us to take forceful action to get her out, to get her insurance, because she wasn't cooperating.
She was going to
right?
probably slam the door in their face or something.
And so like I told myself, I'm like, man, there's no chance in hell these people are ever buying a place. But she didn't end up buying the place from me.
She did or didn't?
She did, yeah.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah.
You deserved it after that. You earned that commission.
Oh my gosh.
Dude. Was her dad like, okay, yeah.
No, I just learned my lesson. When you go show condos, don't assume that you're like going to park in
No.
spot B for unit B. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way, which a lot of times it's so funny in condo complexes. You're like, okay, this is fine. That actually happened to me. So I had just moved to La Jolla. I was not an agent yet. This is like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a rental, and I had a friend with me, and it said visitor parking, but there was just like a sign, and it was up in kind of near UCSD, like that area, right? Like over by Whole Foods and all that. And I pulled in this spot just to like run in and look at it. And I came out, and there's a guy behind my car, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought, is this visitor parking? And he is just unloading on me, going ballistic, screaming, starts walking towards me. So I'm a girl, you know, and it's just like this older gentleman.
Yeah.
And he's got this, again, big old piece of shit boat Cadillac that's like blocking my car in. And I'm like, sir, I'll move right now. Like, I didn't know. And he's screaming at me, and he like won't move his car. So I'm like, well, I'm going to call the cops. And he's just like going, just ballistic. And I was like scared because I'm literally, my friend left. She went the other way. So I'm alone.
Yeah.
And and he won't leave. So I'm sitting in my car. I can't, and it was just like a parking, regular spot. So he is completely behind me. There's no way for me to go any other way. You know what I mean? People are nuts.
I think it's the condo mentality, right? When you get the walls are closing in on you, and you're only entitled right to your condo is that one parking spot.
Guess.
Like, I don't know, like
it's insane. I have
there's
that
so many
issue.
other spots you could have parked anywhere in the parking lot.
I have that issue here. You saw what my driveway is like and where I live, and like during the summer, people will pull up in my spot. I'll honk at them to move, or I'll come out.
You just start charging like $100 for $100.
People give me attitude. The fucking audacity. They're like, I'll move in a minute. I'm like, oh no, you'll move right now. I have yellow toe stickers. Best believe I put that on a couple of people.
Like
They've disappeared.
The signs. If you park here, you will be towed.
We have a sign, and it doesn't stop them. They literally, there has been people that have parked there for like 30 minutes, and they'll just like disappear when it says no parking, and it's clearly like what? Anyway, it's insane. That's insane. So The parking. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I know.
Well, you were right. She came out hogtied. So, there's that.
Oh, I knew it. She was super aggressive. She told me she had just been on a 20-hour flight from South Africa and was like flustered. And I don't know. I'm glad it was over, and I'm glad I got a sale out of it.
That's still wild though.
Yeah. During a showing, had the cops show up. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. The dad was probably like, okay, let's just sit here and eat popcorn and we'll wait for them to.
He had to drive all the way back to the Thousand Oaks after that.
After that, in the heat, no, that's
so
insane.
funny. Yeah.
Anyway, any open house stories or?
What's
your third one?
I'll tell you. Yeah, I did. I have one last story. This is actually a final walkthrough story.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh God. Okay, let's. Hear it.
So sold my clients this house here locally.
Okay.
And they basically didn't feel like, because the owner was living in White Sands.
Okay.
He was represented by an agent here locally.
Okay.
He was
White Sands is a retirement community.
He had dementia or signs of dementia. So
sad.
My clients didn't feel like they got the full story with the disclosures and like the history of like this person who lived there.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, they felt like it was okay for them to arrange the final walkthrough without the agents and with him directly. So they located him at the White Sands.
Oh boy.
They asked him to be at the final walkthrough without his agent or me. And so I'm like trying to figure out what's going on because I'm trying to schedule the walkthrough. And so the listing agent calls me out of courtesy and says, listen, I'm not sure what's going on, but your clients have contacted my client who has dementia and are asking all these questions. They want him to be there without me. I'm telling you right now, that can't happen. It's like misrepresentation. I can't have them be with the agents.
Right.
And so I said, oh, why would they do that? It's like crazy. Like, why wouldn't they just call me and want to set up the walkthrough? And if they have questions, they can ask them directly.
Right.
So anyways, I'm like texting, emailing, calling, sending smoke signals. Like I'm doing it all, right? SOS.
Carrier pigeon,
like Amazon package, like open up. Can you please call me regarding your final walkthrough? And I'm getting like zero contact. So, and I'm like, she had told me they had arranged to do the final walkthrough at 2:00 with this guy.
Okay.
But they were giving me no signal that they were actually going to show up. So I was at an open house that day.
Is this the first time you've worked with this buyer?
No.
Okay.
Oh no, I sold multiple homes to this client. So I'm doing an open house, and you have the intuition where you're like, oh man, something's like bad's gonna happen unless I go.
Something's amiss. Yeah.
I just want to go show up and make sure that like nothing is happening without me there.
Totally.
So I literally in the middle of an open house, I close up shop.
You're like, I gotta go.
I wasn't far away. It was in La Jolla, so I wasn't far away, and I'm like, I'm gonna close up shop and I'm gonna go to this house and because we're closing. This is on a Sunday. We're closing the next day.
Monday, right?
So I pull up to the house. I was a little bit late because I had to go get some signs and stuff. I was kind of like late getting there, right? I get there at like 2:05.
Okay.
And I look as I'm getting in the car, and I see the wife in the driveway in the garage.
Okay.
And I see her pointing her finger at the listing agent, and I see her then pointing the finger at the seller. This like 80-year-old old man with dementia, right? And I walk out. I'm like, oh God.
You're like, hi guys, what's going on?
I get out and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then I hear, fuck you and fuck you. And the wife was holding a 32-ounce Big Gulp.
Oh no. Oh God.
The listing agent, it's middle of summer. She's wearing white jeans, like a whole white outfit. And the wife takes the Big Gulp and she literally throws it. It was a Diet Coke bomb. And it lands at the feet of the seller and the listing agent. And it goes off like a bomb. Like Diet Coke is covered in the entire garage, all over. No. Oh yeah, she threw it right at their feet and exploded everywhere.
You walked up and then this is literally what happened.
Yeah, and I'm like,
explodes.
The look on my face must have been like
shock.
Oh yeah, and then the look on the husband's face was like, and I was like
he couldn't believe his wife just did that either.
Oh my God, so she runs out of the garage and she's like, and this is your fault too. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So like,
you don't even know.
I didn't know what's going
on or why she's upset.
Yeah. Well, I found out after the fact that they wanted like some one-on-one time with the seller to like get to know him and hear some history about the house. But like, they just felt like they weren't getting all of that through the disclosure process. And they really wanted to just like hear like if there's any other information that he didn't provide on the disclosures or
Okay.
that he could provide about neighbors and this and that, right?
Okay,
And so they
okay.
wanted to do that without us present because I don't know. Anyways, make a long story short, the agent, I give her so much credit. Like, she could have hated me for life. She could have
Do I know her?
yeah.
Okay.
So she could have just completely threw me under the bus, but
Also,
she
it's not
handled
your
it with the
fault.
most epic
Grace.
class and
Good.
grace you could
Good.
ever imagine.
Good.
I felt more bad for the seller. I mean, it was a heated moment for whatever reason.
Right.
But like, I thought to myself, I mean, this was like a $3.5 or $3.8 million deal. I'm like, there's absolutely no way that this is closing tomorrow. There's no way. Like, the money hadn't been wired. Like, there's no way this thing's going to close. I'm like, if I'm the seller, I'm going to say, I'm not selling you this house, or like maybe the listing agent's going to freak out.
Right.
They closed it the next day, wired the money and closed, and like never said another thing about it.
Wow.
Like, it was no big deal.
What did the little old man, was he just like?
He was just standing there like frozen. And then like they were there with their daughter, and the daughter came out, and the teenage daughter's crying because she sees her mom upset, and she thinks that like,
It's just like a whole
what did you
thing.
do to my mom?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like this huge chaotic thing. And then like,
God.
they had driven separate cars there, so the wife takes off. I mean, it was like, I don't know.
one thing
It was
after
one of my
another.
more embarrassing moments in real estate with clients.
But also not your fault. I mean,
Yeah.
we do not have control over the way our clients react. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I
there's
think
not,
what happened was
you
I
know.
wasn't privy to the conversation before, but I think the
Right.
listing agent was like, "Listen, this is not happening. Like, you can't. Like, I'm going to be here.
Like, she was
you
just
can ask all the
protecting-
questions you want, but I'm going to be here."
Right.
And then it escalated
Right.
without me there.
Because also, again, her client was in his 80s. He has dementia. Like, she doesn't
Yeah.
want, and she's also, to her point, probably trying to make sure the sale closes.
Yeah.
Right. So she's like, I don't want something to be said, or what if he says something that isn't actually true? Because again, he's got dementia. Like, he
Yeah.
could be saying, people at that age do say things that you're like, wait, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? He could be like, someone died here, and you're like, no one died here.
Yeah.
That's
So that was
crazy.
the Diet Coke bomb story.
Okay, you got to tell me. Okay, when we get off this, we need to be like, okay, who was Heaven's Gate agent and who was this agent? Perfect. Okay, you want to play a little game? Because
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do
this will incite some stories. I think for you.
All right.
So we're gonna play a game. It's called Punch List because we're gonna hit you with 3 questions.
All right,
Are you
sounds
ready?
good. Yeah.
Okay. What is the craziest or pettiest thing that's ever killed or almost killed one of your deals besides Diet Coke bomb,
The pettiest or craziest thing that's ever killed one of my deals.
or almost killed that maybe you say?
God, I have to think about that. Okay, here we go. I have a story for you.
Okay.
Really quick. So I was closing on a deal in Oceanside.
Okay.
This was in the foreclosure market stuff era,
Okay.
right? And this lady had equity, but she's being foreclosed on. So I go to the final walkthrough, and what happened was the appraiser had said there's peeling paint on the house, and all this peeling paint has to go.
And
I'm like,
is
what do you
it
mean? This is like
An
an old green.
appraiser said that?
Yeah, this is an appraiser, right? So this is an old green house.
Would they still say that today? I've
Because the
never
house
heard-
is a certain age, he thought it was lead paint.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Was it like 72 and previously? Okay.
So the paint's peeling. He's like, so the seller sends painters to scrape the peeling paint,
Sure.
and she just paints it in primer.
Okay.
I send photos to the appraiser, or he comes back, does this quick site visit, and he goes, "Listen, I'm not signing off on this. This lady's 48 hours from foreclosure, right?" He goes, "I'm not signing off." He goes, "All these paint chips need to be picked up, and the house has to be painted the same color." I go,
He had that jurisdiction to say those things?
I don't know. I'm freaking out, right? So I'm like, so I go in the back of the property. There's a shed with a big giant bucket of green paint. I'm like, I found the paint. So I literally went to Ross that same day. I bought all new clothes. I went to Home Depot. I bought a roller.
Yeah.
I swept all the paint chips up and painted the entire 2 sides of this house, just really quick
Yeah. To me, it matches.
to get it done and
Right.
to get it closed.
Wow.
Yeah. So it didn't kill the deal, but
Almost. It could have had you not gone to Home Depot.
My painting. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you for doing that, especially for her.
But it's appraiser to tell me he's not going to sign off on the loan.
That was a crazy time. And
Yeah.
they definitely probably wield some power that they didn't necessarily
Oh,
have.
for
or
sure. Lead-based paint chips.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a break. No one's on the
what?
ground crawling and licking the paint chips.
You're like, here, you want to eat one? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Oh my God, that's insane. Okay. What is your biggest pet peeve in life?
Agents that don't pick up their phone.
You're the second person to say that.
It's a lost art.
It,
It's a lost art.
I mean,
I'm telling all the agents out there, if you want to do good business, please pick up your phone. If it says Scott Ryan, 858-349-8272. I love talking. I love getting deals done. Just pick up your phone.
up your
Let's make a
phone.
deal. Because
You're
they'll
the
text right
second-
back, right? And you're like, okay, I know.
Or you get the ones that like, like will not call back regardless of anything.
That's gotten better. I mean, I feel like the more deals you do and the more respect you get within your like market.
The ones that I find that don't pick up though are
consistent.
Yeah. Anyway, I agree with you. I will always pick up your phone, Scott.
Like
Ryan.
there was a day and a time where the big agents in town would never call me back, but they do now.
They do now.
Yeah.
See? I know. I think
it's good.
We have good reputation.
We do. Yeah, for sure. Try.
Okay. If you could be anything other than a real estate agent, what would you be and why? House painter?
Professional golfer.
Professional golfer? You like to golf?
I love to golf.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you play like in college? Or
I didn't play in college, but
But you've always played.
I've played since I was 9 years old, and I like
That's so cool.
And so I don't know. I feel like that would be an awesome career.
It would be.
It'd be so awesome.
My neighbor upstairs, he golfs incessantly, and like I'm like, dude, why didn't you? And he's like, it's so hard to make it. He's good. But
I mean, look, Anthony Kim is on the Live Tour. They just paid him a bunch of money, and he hasn't played in 10 years. So maybe Live, if you're out there,
it's not too late.
Scott Ryan's coming for you.
It's not too
senior
late.
Tour. I might make the senior tour.
Hey, you're
you
not
never
a senior
know.
Yet.
My wife always tells me, like, I go golfing and I'll shoot like even par. I'll shoot 2 over. The other day I shot 2 over. She goes, if like you just shot like 6 strokes better, you could be on the PGA Tour. And I was like, you're right, but
she's
it's
like,
really
and then
hard.
I could be living the PGA wife dream. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Come on, Scott, get your shit together.
I mean, I've only broken par twice in my life, so it's like, and it's amazing. I'm still chasing the hole-in-one
I've
dream.
never even played golf, so I don't.
It's the best.
I mean, mini golf, does that count? No, probably not. Anyway.
But that's kind of like a pipe dream job, I guess.
That's cool though.
In college, I wanted to be like a sports doctor, but then I couldn't do well in chemistry. I got like a C in chemistry.
That'd be insane.
And I'm like, I guess I'm not that smart.
We were cut out to be salespeople. We were not cut out to be doctors.
Oh, I knew from an early. My dad was in sales. Like he was a spice salesman, and I knew from an early age.
That's cool.
Whenever I got in trouble, my dad would say to me, when I get home, we're gonna have a sales meeting. That was.
That's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
That was the way of letting me know that we were gonna have
a little sit down and talk about this.
Chat. Oh yeah.
That's
sales
hysterical.
meeting.
We actually, my mom and I were talking because like anytime that some of her friends or grandkids or they have younger children, they're like, so and so is so strong-willed or she gets in trouble for talking all the time. My mom will be like, so did this one. She's doing just fine. So we make good careers later in life. So anyway, I know if I could count on. Actually, I couldn't count on my hands how many times I got in trouble for talking in school and, on my report card, talks too much. Now I have a podcast. So there you go. Anyway.
The funniest part, we started having kids, you deal with that now. It's like, I had a little one in 4th grade and it's like,
always in trouble. You're like, shit, this is like a mini me coming back.
Royce didn't do his homework today. He's missing these many assignments and he knocked over this girl's water bottle on purpose today. Like that's the kind of stuff, what I mean?
You're like, shit, come on, man. Keep your shit together at school. Come on. That's hysterical. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're going to have to come back and I know you've got more stories. So.
Oh, I do. I've got some good ones.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.